Hey guys, and welcome back to That Was History. I'm Cliff Langston, and I'll be your host for today. As you are probably aware, today is the anniversary of the September 11th attacks on the Twin Towers in New York City, the Pentagon in Washington, D.C., as well as the United Airlines Flight 93 crash in Pennsylvania. Since 2001, many have claimed that this attack was the worst terrorist attack in history, and it was certainly the deadliest incident in regards to firefighters who lost their lives to try and save the wounded and trapped. This event has also come under fire as being a huge conspiracy set up by the government. Regardless of which side of the fence you sit on, there were major actions that took place shortly after the towers fell. We aren't going to take much time to discuss the actual events of September 11th in this episode, but we still wanted to talk about the events that occurred following the incident. If you would like to check out our 9/11 story from last year, you can click the annotation to head on over there to watch it. Anyways, between September 12th and September 15th, there were some drastic policies that were made and decisions that were agreed upon to start the war in the Middle East that has since become known as the War on Terror. On September 12th of 2001, the day after the Twin Towers fell, then President George W. Bush declared that the attacks on the towers were acts of war against the United States and her beliefs. He would go on to say that a war on terror was necessary in order to find those responsible and bring them to justice. Only one day after the attacks, investigations were well underway to find out who was responsible, and the North Atlantic Treaty Association, also known as NATO, gave President Bush their full support for the president's call for military action. The very next day, Secretary of State Colin Powell declared on September 13th that Osama bin Laden was a prime suspect behind the 9/11 attacks. Following this declaration, President Bush would put America on maximum alert on September 14th, and he also approved the calling up of thousands of reserve soldiers in preparation for any further attacks. Also on this day, Congress scrambled together to push an emergency bill through that provided $40 billion for the war on terrorism and the capture of Osama bin Laden. As history has shown, that bill didn't carry us too far, as Osama bin Laden was able to dodge to the United States troops for many years. Finally, to wrap up our block of events for today, let's take a look at September 15th of 2001. On this date, President Bush told the American people to prepare for war.
I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice. We will make no distinction between the terrorists who committed these acts and those who harbored them. I appreciate so very much the members of Congress who have joined me in strongly condemning these attacks. And on behalf of the American people, I thank the many world leaders who have called to offer their condolences and assistance. America and our friends and allies join with all those who want peace and security in the world, and we stand together to win the war against terrorism.
As war became evident, Iran and Pakistan strengthened their presence on their Afghanistan borders as it became clear that Afghanistan was a prime target for an invasion by the United States. As for Afghanistan, many of her citizens began panic buying and stocking up on essential items to prepare for the war. Also, many of them fled the capital of Kabul for safer areas outside of the city. Where do you stand on the events of September 11th? Why not leave us a comment explaining your opinion? Also, be sure to check us out on Facebook and Twitter and show us a thumbs up on the comment section if you enjoyed the new format for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.